What's up, everybody? This is Ryan Amos. I am in the Game Art program, and my instructor for physics is Corin Rombach. And the video that I'm going to be doing today is going to be based around lighting, texturing, and how those both play into emotions whenever you are either playing or creating or viewing games. And this can also apply to movies as well, but I'm going to be talking about it in relation uh, to gaming. So basically, you can think of light as being understood and manipulated and simulated through its most basic characteristics. And those characteristics are brightness or luminance, which in real space can be measured in lumens or lux, as it's sometimes referred to. Also, color, as expressed through its spectrum, can be measured also in degrees Kelvin or can be manipulated through different filtration systems when you're building games. Um, Now, when we're talking about lighting and texturing, we're also going to be getting into uh, kind of the shadow quality, which the shadow quality will make a lot more sense once we get further into our programs when we start talking about shadow maps and light maps. Now, also, when you're talking about lighting and texturing, you're going to be thinking of the perceived direction that the lighting is coming from and the light's variation or change over a specified amount of time. So basically, as far as lighting and texturing goes in games, they can be used to create certain emotions, which really the best way to describe it is if you've ever played games, something like uh, Bioshock, like I have here on the screen. Bioshock is a really great example of games that take lighting and that take texturing and can really make a player or someone that's viewing the game feel certain ways when they're in certain areas. As you see here, this is a very dark level, um, kind of a foreboding feeling when you go through this area in the game. Um, and you can see in this screen here, the screenshot that I have, there's a lot of greens, which kind of gives it somewhat of a relaxing feel. But there's also uh, tones of red as well, which can indicate things like danger or energy or something being about to happen. Now, as far as colors go, you can use a lot of different colors in a lot of different ways when you're talking about games and movies. You have colors like blue, which can be used to represent peace, sincerity, integrity, tranquility, things calm like that. If you've ever seen The Matrix, where they have some of the scenes that are very white, um, the white's a really good indication of purity or cleanliness or simplicity. Which in games, if you go through an area that's largely white, and a good example of this that I can think of off the top of my head would be Portal. Uh, when you go through areas like that, they're just meant to be very simplistic, very basic, very clean. Then you have colors like black for power, mystery, and death. Red is for love, romance, passion, things like that. And you have gray would be things like authority and security. So a lot of times when you see police forces in games, you'll notice that there's a lot of gray that's very often used in their uniforms and whatnot. Purple for luxury and royalty is a pretty obvious one. And really, there's a lot of different colors that I could go over. But just keep in mind that these colors can be used to evoke different emotions, whether they're used in the lighting or in the texturing. So, you can have a white light for simplicity, or you can have white textures for simplicity, and they can be combined with other colors, such as if you had a white texture with a red light. You might be in a very simplistic area, but there might be imminent danger or something of that nature. Uh, Excuse me. Another good thing to note is that lighting and contrast, both with lighting and with color, contrast and shadows is a very powerful way to use that uh, effect on emotions in games and in movies. So basically, if you think of video and computer games being the most complex form of interactive media, uh, the games are going to simulate many elements of the traditional media, such as plot, characters, sound, music, lighting, things like that. Uh, but when you think of a game as being played as a graphic interface and used as a controller, the player's experience can really change based on how the color is used, how light is used, how lighting can be mixed. And if you just keep that in mind as you're going through your program, a lot of times if you are trying to evoke particular emotions or particular feelings in either your fellow students or your instructors, you can really leverage that to your advantage. So I appreciate you guys watching, and good luck going forward. Here are my references for my video about lighting and texturing and how it applies to emotions in games.